Hey everybody, I want to talk about dividing whole numbers and fractions. So we're going to take a look at two main types of problems. We're going to look at whole numbers being divided by fractions. We're going to look at fractions being divided by whole numbers. And in both situations, a lot of times we're going to be talking about food. So let's take a look at this first situation here where we're dividing a whole number by a fraction. So imagine with me that a baker bakes 3 loaves of bread. And you can see that I've drawn 3 loaves of bread. And then he cuts each loaf into thirds. Why? We don't know, but that's what he does. So, what division problem is going on? Well, what am I dividing here? I'm dividing bread, and how much bread do we have? We have 3 loaves. So, I'm going to start out by dividing a whole number by a fraction because he cuts each loaf into thirds. So, I'm going to divide 3 by 1/3. And using the model over here, it's actually quite simple to figure out what the answer is. You simply have to count how many thirds do you have altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, not bad. Another way you can think about this is you got 3 holes and you cut each hole into 3 parts. So you can do 3 times 3 and get 9. And so you see there's a connection between the division and the multiplication here. All right, let's take a look at another example. There's always going to be a pizza question. Almost guarantee you there's going to be a pizza question. So let's say you got 5 pizzas. You got 5 pizzas. And you're going to cut each piece or each whole pizza into fourths. So each pizza is going to have 4 pieces. So what division problem is this? Well, you got 5 whole pizzas. You divide each pizza into fourths. So we got 5 divided by 1/4. And again, we can use our model and just count how many fourths we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's going to give me 20 fourths. So 5 divided by 1/4 is 20. Takes 20 fourths to make 5 holes. Of course, we can use our multiplication. We have 5 whole pizzas, and each pizza is divided into 4 sections. So 5 times 4 also gives us 20. Not bad. Okay, let's take a look at the other situation where we're dividing a fraction by a whole number. And again, we can use food. So let's say we got 3 friends and they're sharing a watermelon or part of a watermelon. So 3 friends share 1/4 of a watermelon equally. And of course, the question is, what size piece does each friend get? So let's make sure that we're setting this up correctly, okay? Because one of the most common mistakes that I see is students will set this problem up as 3 divided by 1/4. Why? Because 3 is bigger than 1/4, and it just looks right. But we got to slow down and really think about what's going on here. If I do 3 divided by 1/4, what I'm really doing is I'm dividing 3 friends into fourths. That's not what we want to do here. So let's back up that train. The thing that's being divided here is not people. It's 1/4 of a watermelon. So we're going to set this problem up like this. Maybe. So 1/4 is being divided by 3 because we have 1/4 of a watermelon and we're dividing it amongst 3 friends. So, what is this going to look like? Well, I'm going to move my screen over a little bit here. Let me rewrite the problem. We got 1/4 of a watermelon divided amongst 3 friends. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw 1/4. And that's going to look like this. So I have one whole. I'm going to divide it into fourths. And I'm going to color in one of those fourths to show that I have 1/4 of something there. Okay, so now what I want to do with this 1/4 is I want to divide it by 3 wholes. So in other words, I'm going to go through and cut this 1/4 into 3 pieces. So what am I left with? Well, one's going to be my numerator, okay, because I've divided that 1/4 into 3 pieces. So I have one of those pieces. But what size is that piece? Is it a third? Is it a fourth? Is it a fifth? Well, the total number of pieces in my whole over here in my model is going to tell me that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is 1 out of 12. That's how big this piece is. It's 1 out of 12. Okay. So the quotient or answer to 1/4 divided by 3 is going to be 1/12. Okay. Let's take a look at another example. Let's say that you have some brownies left over. Okay. So let's say you have 1/3 of a pan of brownies left. Okay. Let's say 2 friends, they're always friends. 2 friends share the remaining brownie. So this is the setup. The question, of course, is what size brownie do they get? So if you're like me, I usually leave the brownies in the pan. I usually don't cut them up and then put them nice and neat on a plate. And I usually don't do that. I usually just leave a giant slab of brownie in a pan and eat of it as I will. So let's show. That's not going to do it. Let's show 1/3 of a brownie. Color in 1 out of the 3 pieces here to show 1/3. Okay, so we got 1/3 of a brownie, and then we're sharing it amongst 2 friends. So we're going to divide that 1/3 in half or by 2. There we go. All right, so what's my numerator and my quotient? Well, it's going to be 1. But what size piece is that? Well, we got to count up all the pieces that I have in my model now. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it turns out that this piece is a sixth. So I have 1/6. Okay. So if 2 friends have 1/3 of a brownie left and they share that 1/3 equally, they're going to each get 1/6 of a brownie. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys, if you Google like fraction division, you're going to get this method, okay? It's the keep, change, flip. I like the models better because it really shows you what's happening and why your answer makes sense. But if you're on a time crunch and you want to solve these types of fraction whole number division problems quickly, or better word, you can use this keep, change, flip method. Okay. So, for instance, let's say that you have this problem. You have the whole number 3. You want to divide it by 1/4. Okay. So, what you're going to do is you're going to rewrite the problem and solve it using this keep, change, flip. So, you're going to keep the 3 of 3. You're going to change division sign to multiplication sign. And then you're going to flip or write the reciprocal of the last number, whether it's a fraction or a whole number. And I'll do an example of both. So if I want to flip 1/4, that means the 4 goes up top, the 1 comes down below, and I get 4/1. Okay. So now I solve 3 wholes times 4/1, or 4 wholes. I can put a 1 under the 3 if I really want to. Multiply my numerator by numerator, get 12. Denominator by denominator is 1. We all know 12/1 is just 12. Okay. So 3 divided by 1/4 would be 12. Now I'm going to do an example where you have a fraction being divided by a whole number. So let's say we have, you know what, let's mix it up. Let's say we got 2/3 divided by 5. Okay. So we're going to keep the 2/3. We're going to change division to multiplication, and then we're going to flip the 5, or write the reciprocal of 5. Now, what does that look like? Well, remember that we can normally write 5 as 5/1. So we just flip the 1 up top, put the 5 down below, and we get 1/5, or 1/5. Then we can multiply 2/3 by 1/5. 2 by 1 is 2. 3 by 5 is 15. We get 2/15. Okay. I will say this about the keep, change, flip method. Many times I see students mess this up by doing keep, change, keep, or change, or flip, change, flip. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So a lot of times what I'll see is if I got a student dividing 1/3 by 2, they'll flip the first number and the second number. Okay, that's not going to work out. Okay, you have to keep the first one the same. You got to flip the second one. All right, that's how that trick works. But if you're ever not quite sure if you did the keep, change, flip method correctly, go back to the models. Okay, the models really help you see what's going on. All right, and that definitely helps you see if the answer you get makes sense. Okay. So I hope this video helps you guys dividing whole numbers and fractions and whole numbers. Really not too bad. I wish you luck in your future mathing, and remember, guys, reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns about your work.